This week's top Disney news stories include a whole host of updates about the reopening of Walt Disney World, and also my thoughts about that reopening. There are also stories about Star Wars: The High Republic and The Simpsons, so stay tuned and I'll break it all down. Well, hello there! My name's Jeremy and welcome back to Freeform Disney, where I talk about all aspects of Disney, from the animated movies to the theme parks to Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar, and the TV shows, and everything else in between. And that is why it's Freeform. And keep coming back every day for new daily content. If you're not subscribed yet, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now it's that time of the week once more, so here we go, on to this week's biggest Disney news stories. Our top story of the week is a whole bunch of updates on Walt Disney World's reopening. Now, I did a video earlier this week that was just about that reopening, so if you're curious for the overall details, go over there and look at that. I will note here that the current plan is Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom will both be opening on July 11th, while the other two parks of Walt Disney World will be opening on the 15th. And we've heard no word on the water parks yet. So what has changed since that video just a few days ago? First, the official approval has come from the state of Florida, so Walt Disney World's plan to reopen has been approved. This isn't really a surprise, especially given that Universal's plan to open well over a month earlier had already been approved. We have a number of extra pieces for annual pass holders. So first off, just holding the annual pass does not guarantee you park entry, and you still will have to make an advance reservation to enter the park. You also will have your total reservation days held to some kind of limit, so you won't be able to hold too many all at one time. And also don't forget that annual passes will be subject to blockout dates. Okay, so that's just a little bit of updates right there for the annual pass holders. Then we got another interesting little one. Originally, when Disney put out their notice, it had a little piece about the Walt Disney World Resort hotels opening on July 11th. And now that language has been taken out, and Disney has said it was apparently put there in error. So there's no word on when the Walt Disney World Resort hotels will open. And this is an interesting retraction. You would think that the Walt Disney World Resort hotels would be opening at the same time that the parks are opening back. Or certainly not later than that. So this is a really interesting change. And if I had to place a guess, my guess is that it has to do with the sports. There's been a lot of talk, especially about the NBA continuing their season down over at Walt Disney World. And if that were to happen, Walt Disney World would really have to make sure there are a good number of hotels that are isolated for all the teams to go ahead and be holed up in. So if I had to be placing my bets as to why that language was retracted, that's probably it right there. Now even then, that doesn't mean there's a guarantee of anything happening, just that they want to be able to have the ability to do it in case it does. Other little changes. Originally they said masks were required for everyone 3 years old and older. That has now changed to 2 years old and older, and that also does apply to Disney Springs. Okay, here's a big one though. So all dining and hotel reservations have been paused. And to go along with that, all current dining reservations experience bookings are all canceled all the way through the end of 2020. That includes Disney dining plan packages as well. That said, if you have a Disney dining plan package as part of your hotel reservation, you will actually get a 35% discount on the hotel stay to make up for it. And also, the reservations will change to a 60-day booking window when they do have them, as opposed to the normal 180, probably because things are so subject to change. Another big one. There is no more FastPass Plus program down there for the time being. It's gone, it's out. Apparently this is because they're planning to use all that extra queue space to manage their capacity at the different attractions to hopefully keep some physical distancing and work on the capacity of the different areas of the park. So if you have any FastPass Pluses reserved, they're gone. Don't have it anymore. So we're really moving over to virtual queues, and that's part of the expectation too as to what will be happening. Some other things that won't be there, extra magic hours are temporarily suspended. There will be no character dining for the time being. Now, bear in mind, all of these might come back at some point in time, whether it takes a couple months or whether it takes a number of weeks or however long. But for now, those kind of things are gone. On the plus side, there has been news that there will be some kind of special preview opportunities coming to each of a few groups. So the annual pass holders will get some kind of special preview. The Disney Vacation Club members will, and also the Club 33 members will get some kind of special preview. So there are all the updates that we've learned just since a few days ago when I put out that other video. Just a bit. As for my own thoughts, we'll save that for a little bit later. But now, it's time for everybody's favorite, the lightning round. Few quick headlines of bigger stories. Carlos A. Gomez has been named the Senior Vice President and Treasurer of the Walt Disney Company. He has replaced Jonathan S. Headley, who is retiring after having been with the company for about 24 years. Bad news for Disney Cruise Lines, as Canada's ban on cruise ships has now extended all the way through October 31st. Also, there will be no screaming on roller coasters in Japan, so when Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea reopen, no screaming please. Disneyland Paris has some reopening starting, as golf Disneyland courses will be reopening this weekend. So I suppose get your golf on if you're over there. James Gunn revealed that the original date for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 would actually have been May 2020, so a little while ago, although it would have gotten delayed by the coronavirus just like everything else has. So if other issues hadn't happened, we'd already have seen trailers for the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie. The Simpsons is now available in both 4x3 and 16x9. You can change the tube via a toggle switch over on Disney+. Star Wars The High Republic has had its kickoff pushed all the way back to 2021 due to all kinds of delays related to coronavirus when it comes to production. This means Light of the Jedi and A Test of Courage are both releasing on January 5th, while Into the Dark will release on February 2nd. The graphic novels will have release dates at some point later to be announced. Finally, we end on a story where this is just going to be some of my thoughts on the reopening of Walt Disney World. So this is not any kind of straight news, this is just some of my own thoughts on the matter. Now, if that's not what you're here for, then I'm going to say thanks for watching, have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always. For the rest of you though, here goes. So first off, if you've been watching some of my news, you know that we are not ready here in the US to really be opening theme parks. We don't have the contact tracing. We don't have the massive testing capabilities yet. And we don't have things under control. We're just not there. I wish we were, but that's just not the case. I mean, heck, look at these graphs in terms of what both Florida and California look like recently in terms of infections. Reported cases, they're not in good spots. This is not where we should be opening. And you're starting to open things, that's going to get worse, not better. It's a bloody mess, frankly. I mean, I would love to have the parks back open and to be in a park myself right now. I'd love to do it, but it should be done responsibly. Now, at the same time, let me note this. I wish our country were taking care of everyone the way it should be. And our government, at whatever the heck level you want to look at it, it's not exactly doing a great job. Look at other countries. They can take care of their people, both in terms of healthcare, in terms of locking down the virus, and in terms of making sure people are taken care of when they are out of any kind of job that they are in right now, making sure they have the money to survive. I mean, our neighbor to the north, Canada, no problem. Easily, quickly done. Here in the US, well, hey, you got a one-time check of $1,200 if you got it. Oh, and also a little extra in unemployment. If you can get the unemployment. Heck, a report came out recently that a third of the Disney cast members down in Florida who are out of work, and while furloughed they should be able to get unemployment, a third of them still have not gotten any unemployment money from the state of Florida. That's insane. So that's our country. We're not ready to open. And frankly, part of the problem is, even though we're not ready to open, because the country's not taking care of people, that means people are desperate to get back to work so they can actually have some kind of money to be able to even survive. I mean, this is a disaster. It's a debacle. I would love if we were in the place where Shanghai Disneyland is right now. And I should note, it took months for Shanghai to get to that point. And they had things under control way faster than we do. If you look at our deaths compared to the rest of the world, we account for a huge portion of it. And it doesn't seem to be decreasing anytime soon. Not in any significant way. So, what's my ultimate opinion? I don't think Disney should be opening. But of course, Disney is a business. Sorry for breaking magic right there, but they are. They are what they are. And ultimately, there are therefore other concerns other than simply the health and well-being of their guests. Money matters. And Disney, in its language on everything is talked about as to whether it'll reopen and why, it loves to pass the buck. There's always language about what the government officials say and what the health officials say. Now, government officials clearly here inside the US want to open things back up. And I think Disney is going to use that as political cover to some degree. And that worries me a little bit. Worries me quite a little bit, frankly. I've said it before, but for me to go to a Disney park, what it would take is A, either I myself am immune and know that I'm in no danger. Also, that means I'd be in no danger of passing something too, for that matter. B, there's widespread testing, and I have assurance that the other people that are in that park were recently tested, and we know that they are unlikely to have the virus. Now, if I were attending Shanghai Disneyland, B would be true. They have that system in place. That's the whole QR code system. So you have green. That means that you haven't had it recently and you haven't been anywhere next to a spot where there have been infected people or whatever else because, well, there's some privacy issues here, but they do track your phone to figure that out. Well, won't go too far into that half of it. But the point being is that there is that assurance if you're going to Shanghai Disneyland. If you're going to go to Disney World, right now there is nothing like that kind of assurance sitting out there. So there's my opinion on that. I think it is reckless and dangerous at this point in time. But at the same time, the way our government has acted at all different levels, again, and this isn't a Republican or Democratic thing, because trust me, both Democratic governments and Republican governments across the country have made these same problems, these same errors here. So it is certainly not one or the other. Oh, while we're on it, masks. Yes, I would most certainly wear a mask. I got no problem personally wearing a mask. I understand other people having problems with it. Although I will say, if you ultimately have too big a problem with it, well, don't attend the park until after it reopens, right? I think that's the simple solution to it. Now, we as Americans aren't used to wearing masks. Other places in the world are. And we actually take more visual cues from people's mouths and how they move, so it's understandable that there is a lot of resistance there. Oh, and one other thing, while we're talking the parks, is it worth going to the park and paying full price to have a park that is at lower capacity, but you're not getting things like the fireworks or the parades or certain rides that might still be closed or shows? Is that worth it? It's an interesting question. I mean, you can argue A, you don't have the ability to go otherwise, and this actually gives you that ability. B, the lower capacity might actually mean that you get into rides a heck of a lot faster. But on the other hand, you are paying the same amount for less in the park. I don't know. Personally, I would probably wait on that front, unless money's not an object. If money wasn't an object, sure, I'd go, assuming the health things are okay and I'm not worried about that side of things. So there you go. There's a good bit of my opinions on the parks opening. And certainly not a news side, but I figured this was a spot to go ahead and add it. So hey, hopefully that's interesting to some of you out there. I'm sure that people disagree with me in all kinds of different ways, although there's probably some of you that agree with me too. Or at least agree with some of what I had to say. And that's perfectly fine. I said there was no problem with you disagreeing with some of my opinion, because that's what it is. And that's why I saved it for this portion here and didn't put it into the news portion earlier. Okay, well folks, there you have it. And let me say again, I would love to be back in the Disney parks. I love the Disney parks and can't wait to be back in them myself. Dang, I would love to be there. But anyway, that's the news for the week, everyone, and my opinions as well. So go ahead, let me know. Did I miss any big Disney news stories? And what do you think about the news this week, or my thoughts here? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And as I always say, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like, share with other people you think will too, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another new video for Freeform Disney. If you haven't done it yet, don't forget to click the subscribe button and ring that bell. Have a magical day, and may the Force be with you always.